Fuyo, what a demanding set of parameters. Let's see what's available. First things first, visit our website. Okay, I know what to look for. Volvo S60 T8. And huzzah! As they say in Sweden, välkommen, and say hello to the all-new Volvo S60 T8R design. Perhaps one of the most dynamic, youthful and sportiest looking thing you can find in a Volvo showroom today. Much of that boils down to the fact that it comes specified with the R design package that adds a very sporty front and rear bumper set, as well as this 19-inch alloy wheel set. So it looks great, but does it go as great as it looks? It promises to, because it packs Volvo's T8 plug-in hybrid powertrain system that combines a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol and electric motor system. What's available on tap? 407 brake horsepower and 640 Newton meters of torque. Yep, folks, this is now the most powerful locally assembled offering in segment, and it can be yours for less than 300,000 ringgit or slightly lesser than that with the current SST waiver in effect. So what do you get for that kind of money? Well, let me show you. Why don't you come on board with me? Okay, before we go for a drive, let's get to know the S60 T8R design on the inside a little bit better, and we start with how to start the car. Here's the key, and here's the starting knob. All you do, foot on the brake, give it a twist. And the car is now running. You might have noticed the silence, and that's again because it's a plug-in hybrid. By default, it likes to run on electricity more often than not, but we'll get more into that later on. But on the surface, as you can see, on the inside, the S60 T8R design is as dynamic as it looks on the outside, simply because it's got these two racy looking R design semi-bucket seats that offer plenty of adjustments. Now, like most of Volvo's current crop of products, it feels very modern and very posh inside. One thing to note, it's quite youthful as well, because there is no single wood panel present here. Instead, Volvo have gone for, of course, a lot of soft touch leather all around, even in some of the smaller places, a dash of piano black trim, and this very tasty looking metal brightwork on the dash. On top of that, there's a lot of tech to bask in as well. For drivers, you'll be pleased to know that there is a very neat digital display on the dash, plus a heads-up display that projects on the windscreen. And there's also this very neat vertical infotainment touchscreen display unit, which comes with something that I find very important this day and age, Apple CarPlay. So all you got to do is just cable it up, connect it. You can run it on the screen, very nifty. And news gets even better if you're quite the audiophile, because the S60 T8R design comes specified with a 14-speaker Harman Kardon hi-fi unit that sounds very crisp. You can take my word on that. Right, enough about look and feel. How does it drive? Well, let's find out. So as mentioned, the Volvo S60 T8R design is a plug-in hybrid, meaning it's going to lean a lot more on electric propulsion, as what you can see in here right now. So we're in hybrid mode. In lower speed conditions, it favors electricity more than anything else. But if you give it the beans, you'll get the advent of both, powering all 4 wheels. Alright, that's enough pep. And there's no hiding that this car definitely has over 400 brake horsepower on tap. Volvo says it will do 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds under optimal conditions, and you've got to admit that is quite a quick car in this segment. In terms of ride and handling, well, it's a Volvo. It's never going to be as sharp or as nimble as some of its rivals, but if there's one guarantee, it's going to be really comfortable and very sublime, as you can see right now. We're going through some urban roads, tackling some urban bumps, and this car is taking it in full stride, which is rather impressive to say the least. So yeah, call it a sport-styled saloon, if you will. What we love the most is the fact that this sport-style saloon from Sweden comes with all the necessary maturity associated with this particular brand. Now, why I say maturity is because this is one of the safest cars you can buy in segment right now. It's a Volvo. Would you have associated the brand with anything else? Now, while on the subject, I'll highlight some of the key features and bits this car packs, and it's quite a number of the brand's latest and greatest from its arsenal. Highlights include collision avoidance and mitigation system with intersection support, and there's also something called city safety that adds pedestrian, cyclist, and large animal detection in the mix of all that. Basically, what I'm telling you is that this is simply one of the safest cars in its segment, and considering the amount of money it commands, that's quite a lot of peace of mind you're getting in return. Alright, there you have it. Volvo's most sportiest, most dynamic four-door saloon offering on sale right now, and it's quite the car, to say the least. However, I'm sure some of you are already arguing and questioning, it's a bit too small, a bit too compact for me. I need something a bit more sizable and a bit more mature. Well, worry not. We've also got this. That's right. Say hello to the S60 T8R design's bigger brother, the S90 T8 Inscription Plus. This is the one that started it all as far as electrification in four-door saloons with Volvos are concerned. And as you can see from right off the bat, the R design is a much more dynamic looking car, but you can't argue that, this is definitely the more mature looking car amongst the two. More importantly, it's a bigger car and it promises to be much better. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's hop in and see, shall we? So right off the bat, you can see that the S90 is a much bigger car than the S60, and that's because it's got a 70mm longer wheelbase that grants added legroom. It's a lot more comfortable to be seated at the back and driven in this one as well. And adding to that is the fact that the side windows in the S90 are laminated for enhanced soundproofing. You already know Volvo is a brand all about safety, but in the S90 in particular, it even wants you to breathe safer thanks to its clean zone interior package with interior air quality system. It's a bit complicated to explain, but it's basically a much heavily filtered air circulation system that eliminates a lot of odor and nasty bits, and I guess that is something very important in these pandemic times. Now, apart from that, this Volvo S90 also comes equipped with a much more powerful 1400 watt 19 speaker Bowers & Wilkins hi-fi system that, in my opinion, sounds a lot like a proper studio on four wheels. So, the S90 is a great car to be driven in. The only question that remains now is, how's it like to drive? Well, let's find out. So what's the S90 like to drive? Well, it's a lot more refined and more mature than the S60 is, for sure. Okay, in the S60's defense, it is a product that was meant to be a lot sportier and a lot more dynamic, given how that is the norm of that segment of cars. But when you upsize to the S90, the name of the game really is refinement. I mean, you can see it from the cabin itself. The fact that this one has Volvo's novel Auraforce crystal gear knob, wood panel. By the way, the wood panel is probably the only crash-tested wood panel we've ever come across, meaning it shouldn't splinter you in the event of a crash at the very least. Otherwise, the S90 is quite a grand car to be in. Yet it doesn't try too hard to be too grand. It's refined, it wafts off the line, and what we love most about the electrification here is how smooth the 8-speed transmission feels in this big saloon. Sure, it's eager in the S60, but if you're not a fan of the eagerness in that, you want to go for the smoothness in this one. Speaking of powertrain, it's worth noting that the T8s in the S60 and S90 are similar, identical. 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol hearts with electrification powering all four wheels with a little over 400 brake horsepower and 640 Nm torque. Just that the S90 is a tad heavier, so you feel it. But it's no deal breaker given just how much more comfortable this car feels, because it also rides on Volvo's air suspension system in this Inscription Plus range-topping variant. If this feels a little too rich for you, worry not, there is an entry-level T5 variant of the S90 available, which doesn't cost too much more over the S60. But really, with a modern-day Volvo, you'd want to experience the best the brand has to offer, and right now it's through its electrified products such as both the S60 T8 we mentioned earlier and this, the S90 T8. Now personally, my favourite bit about this car is the 19-speaker Bowers & Wilkins hi-fi I mentioned earlier, and if you don't mind, I'd like to enjoy a little bit more of that before we wrap things up. Effectively, this is as plush and as classy as Volvo saloons get, thus making the S90 T8 Inscription Plus stand as a rather fitting flagship. Keen on a sportier twist? Don't forget that the S60 is also now in the picture. Volvo's plug-in magic is evident no matter which of the two you choose, but you don't have to take our word for it. Visit your nearest Volvo dealership today and test drive either one for yourself. Don't worry, these outlets have strict SOPs in place for your safety, but you are advised to call in ahead before visiting. Once you're done with that, you tell us which of the two is your favorite. For more reviews like this, visit topgear.com.my.